name is Sonia, and I'm a travel advisor with Cruise Planners, and I'm so excited to share a soulful conversation today with Pearl.
Oh, sunshine, good to see you again. Had to walk out to let you back in. Stuck in a storm of a relationship. Lost my fire. Oh, and I forgot about me for way too long. But it's rolled on. Now there ain't no shade around here.
Pearl Sharenza with Women Successful Living, coming again to you with another soulful self-care conversation. And I actually haven't, everybody's, it's practically my friends that come on here, but I have a really special friend because we got some fun things we have coming up. So I know we're going to talk about that probably on the show, but I want to introduce you to my friend Sonia Rodriguez Thorn. She is a distinguished high education leader, entrepreneur, and advocate for women's empowerment. And she's based here with me in Tampa, Florida. She held the title of Administrator Emerite at Pasco Hernando Community College, State College, where she has served in various leadership roles, including Assistant Vice President, Dean of Academic Affairs, and Institutional Accreditation, as well as Association Dean of Academic Affairs and Retention Services. I want you to know that throughout her tenure at PHSC, Sonia was instrumental in coordinating academic programs. She helped oversee institutional effectiveness and managing accreditation on processes with the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools and Commission on Colleges. She is so amazing because she also supervised a dual enrollment office in the marketing and communications department. So beyond her academic contributions, though, Sonia is deeply involved in community initiatives. She's been a member of the Hispanic Professional Women's Association since 14. She's chaired the North Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce Women's of Wesley Chapel. That was in 2014 to 16. And her commitment to fostering entrepreneurship, I can't talk today, you guys, is evident through her involvement with the National Association for Community College Entrepreneurships, where she has worked to connect West Central Florida institutions to strengthen the regional entrepreneur ecosystem. And that's so important, especially for women of different nationalities. It's really, really a important part of what she's done, and she's made an impact here in our state. However, I want you to know that in addition to all these amazing things that she's done, she has done some amazing stuff. She's passionate about personal wellness and entrepreneurship. And after 30 years of her service in higher education, all the things I shared with you, she retired in 2024 and pursued my favorite thing is her love of travel. As a travel advisor at Cruise Planners, she is dedicated to inspiring women to embrace travel, self-renewal, and personal growth. Sonia has a multifaceted career and community involvement, highlight her dedication to education, empowering, and holistic well-being. And I need you to know, I am holding my 10th retreat next year, you guys. And Sonia and I, when we met a couple months ago, it hasn't been very long. We got really close with one another. We met a couple months ago. I put a post out and said, I'm looking for somebody who wants to sponsor when we travel our little tech bags. And right away, Sonia had not even met me. She reached out and goes, oh my God, this is so perfect. Exactly lines up with what she does in travel. I have to tell you guys what I told Sonia. For 8 years of my retreat, I've been trying to get one person that I love dearly to be part of this retreat because travel is so important for self-care. Travel, getaways, whether they're big or small, staycations, whatever it is, you've got to do stuff that's going to pour into your soul. And when Sonia said, like, really, you guys, we didn't even see each other. She's just messaging me on Messenger. I'm like, girlfriend, I got to meet you because let me just tell you, for 8 years, I've been begging somebody to do this. And Sonia stepped right into that role, sponsored, and then she also spoke at our first annual summit that we did for business owners around self-care. And now, next year, not only is she sponsoring, she's also attending the retreat, and she's going to help us at our second annual Soulful Self-Care Business Summit for Women. So I am excited to bring Sonia on to have conversations around all of this today, because we're going to delve into different aspects of not only what she did, but why she got involved and how travel is so important for our self-care. So Sonia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pearl. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for that synopsis of my 30 years. It's been a ride, and I've been enjoying it, and just love doing all the things that help all of us, do better, get better, and thrive. And so definitely my foray into travel has really been part of that, but more so meeting you and getting to do some neat things in regards to that and how we can grow that together.
Yeah, I mean, listen, education alone is so powerful, and there's a lot of educators, including yourself out there, that don't get that credit and that recognition. And I think it's really important that we remember that, educators like yourself set us up for the future for what we have and what our kids are learning. And I think it's a powerful thing. And so I'm honored to have you on the show today. So we're going to talk for a little bit, though, before we go into all the fun things. We do something fun on the show, and that is we want to talk to little Sonia. So we want you to take us back and introduce us to little Sonia. We want to know a little bit about her. What was life like growing up? What did she like to do? Maybe what her hobbies were, and how what she wanted to do when she grew up correlates to what you're doing today. So introduce us to the little Sonia.
Okay, little Sonia was born in Brooklyn, New York. I am a first generation American. My parents are from the island of Trinidad and Tobago. And though they didn't meet in Trinidad, they actually met in New York. And they had I'm the oldest of my parents' children, and I have one little sister. Well, she's not so little; she's just a year younger than me. But and so I was there in Brooklyn for the first 5 years of my life, and then my parents moved us out to Long Island, and I stayed there till I was 13, and then we moved to Florida. And I'll be the first to say I did not want to come to Florida at 13 years old, but we came to Spring Hill, Florida, in Hernando County, and there my father, I would say, a part of my journey would be what my parents are about. My parents are, they're not American. They grew up with different ideals and different customs. And I guess, for what it's worth, we have a lot of cross of races, cross of faith. My mom is the union of an interfaith marriage of Irish Catholic and Pakistani Muslim. My father is a mix of the indigenous people of Trinidad, which his mother is a Caribbean and African, as well as his father is from Venezuela. So here I am, little Sonia. There's a lot of multiracial, I guess, for what you want to, if you want to tag it, give it a title, a person. But we grew up just regular working class family, I would say. My father worked, my mother stayed home. And when we moved to Florida, my father took early retirement at 55, and we moved to Florida. And I would say moving to Florida was a mix of things. My parents were very forthright with us. My father said, listen, at 13, 14, I knew this. He had a pension. They were able to sell. They had two properties in New York. They were able to sell their properties, come down here. But he said, for us to make it here, we need to make $700 a month. And so, with that, I think I never appreciated, and I bring this story because it's almost cathartic for me. I never really appreciated what he did, but I think that's led me these 40 years led me down this path of entrepreneurship, because that's what that man was all his life. He always said to us, never have one stream of income, always have multiple streams of income. And he started out, he drove a gypsy cab in New York. He was, if anybody's old enough like we are, about the Electrolux, the vacuum cleaner. He was an Electrolux dealer, salesman in Flatbush, Brooklyn. He co-owned a African artifact store. So, a lot of the sculptures and the African masks. And so I never, I just always thought, man, that, this guy's always doing something, but he was always there for us. Always provided. My mom didn't work. And, but when we moved down here, the true entrepreneur of working in your garage is what he had us do. He bought a lucite business, and we made lucite as a family. And I learned at 13, 14 to start doing cold sales. We took pictures of what we made. We made a lot of clocks, candle stands, picture frames, bud vases, and we learned to buff, edge, cut, and we put this thing together. And my mom and I would do cold sales door to door. And I'll be the first to say I hated this job. I absolutely have, like, why I have to do this? I want to play like everybody else or go hang out or whatever it was. But he instilled this in us, and that we had to do something. You don't do nothing. And we still we did our grades, we did our schoolwork. My parents had high expectations. We could always my sister and I only could bring home A's. If we did it, we had to explain that. And I don't know. When I look back now, it might have been kind of traumatic. But at any rate, that's what we were molded into. And so we did that. And then my father took us, he said, these coal sales isn't going very well. Let's go to the flea market. So we went to this flea market in Hudson. I don't think it's there anymore, but it was called Flea Masters. And we were in the garage sale section, and we had like a nice table. It's like real pretty. We're trying to show all our shiny stuff, black tablecloth, and all four of us are, there every weekend. And I think about the fourth weekend of not making a whole lot of money, he finally was thinking, what can I do? And I think that's where he's always been, this may be the current situation, but what's going to be next? And we then moved into selling things, like just any random thing. Where we were in this garage sale section, there were people that would just, bring stuff from their garage, from their home, and dump it, and then they don't want to bring it back. And he would just take a look at it and he'd say, if I can make 3 times my money, if I offer them $20 and I see something there I can at least recoup and make it 60, then we'll do that. Anyway, he did that for years and built that up. And my sister and I and my mom were there until my mom broke off and my mom started working with a mom and pop operation, another entrepreneurs of family furniture store. And then I broke off and I went and worked at Winn-Dixie. And my sister stayed on. But my father had that place from 1987 to 2003. And we as a family, we learned to shop, and that would be garage sale, thrifting, whatever. We learned to fix, clean, inventory. I learned all of these things in my high school years. So I feel like it was real foundational now on those types of jobs, but also dealing with different types of people, all of the people that you cross in your life. You learn to engage in certain ways and learn different things. And I think that was really paramount and foundational for me. That I at this ripe old age of 52, I didn't appreciate at 13 to 17 or 18. I was just like, I don't want to do that. And he didn't care if we partied, as long as you were in the van at 7 a.m. on Saturday or Sunday morning, he didn't want to hear it. You had work to do. So I think for the most part, that was my dad. My mom was the purest person that's another foundational person, strong woman. She definitely, was the person pivotal in our household. And she was a great person that I think grounded us in our faith. My parents are both pretty, religious in the sense of they grew us up. We grew up Catholic, but she was just always there, always a supporter. She's still. My father passed in 2007. My mom's still alive. She's 81. I was just with her this last week. But she's always been a great ear, and what I appreciate her now as a woman is that we're both adult women and we can talk as adult women. It's not like it's not it's not a child mother type of thing. I can talk to my mom about anything, to the most part. And she's actually one of my first travel buddies from 2013, I want to say, till about 2022 or so. Well, no, I take that back. Right before COVID, so maybe 2019. So about 7, 8 years there, she traveled with me to Europe a lot, and so she was just a fun travel buddy and great time. But so that's my family. My sister
I
is a year younger than me, and
I
she's
love
there.
this. I love that story with your mom, and I love, like, I can see, like, the whole, like, you talk about your sales, like your dad. I think if many of us could have the opportunity to learn sales, like what your dad did for you, like, that's, even though you, like you said, I don't want to do that. I'm in my teens. Who wants to go do that? I was like, oh yeah, I could totally be that. That would totally be me. Like, I'm not doing that. And what I want to talk about is, like, so your episode is coming. We're talking, a few episodes ago I spoke to Bill Chinney with the Mary Martha House, and he shared, and I want to kind of build on that, is he shared our childhood. People think what's a normal childhood, right? Like, you would think, like, you grew up, it's a normal childhood, the way Bill grew up, normal, all of us. So I want to point that out because for the listeners that are listening to us, I want you to see that here's another example that our normals are so different because somebody's sitting there going, it's not normal for a parent to take them out and teach them how to learn or how to do these things, right? So that's not a normal thing for it to happen. So I think it's really cool that your dad gave you that tool because you and I both know now, like we're always selling ourselves first. We have to sell,
Mhm.
let alone having a business. We have to sell the art of ourselves, like, why we're important, why, whether you're going for that job or whatever that is, like why me, right? And so I love that he taught you that. And that was sitting there going, how creative is he that he's like going, well, this isn't going well, but I see all these people's junk over here. So let me do something with it. It's like, and one man, he solely was living one man's, what is it? One man's junk is another man's treasure or what? I know I'm butchering it, but it was like,
I think
that's
you're
so,
right. I think we got it
yeah.
right.
So I think it's so cool. And I love that. I want to delve into the fact that, so now, you've done this, you had this great career in education and you touched on it. And it brought me back to stories you told us at the retreat about your traveling and why travel. And so I want you to start us off with the story with your mom going on vacation with you. I want you to tell that
Right.
story.
So I don't know, the epitome of any administrator. You're constantly on your phone. You're constantly checking emails, and things are pinging, and you're constantly in a crisis management, fire putting out situation, or what have you. Anyway, I go and my mom and I went to visit family in Vancouver, and I, we're there. we're in the plane, the airport. Anyway, I'm on my phone again, and I'm probably huffing and puffing as I type out a response email to somebody about something. And all this is like, the phone is on, and you click, you click the letters. You hear tick 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 tick, tick. So my mom, who doesn't even know what TikTok is, she says, "Are you going to be TikToking on that thing the whole vacation?" And I was just like, yeah. I said, Ma, you're right. And that was June, no, June of 2018. And my phone has been on silent since. And I removed from that day, I removed the notifications from the work email. And I said, I am not letting this control me. This was controlling me. And I needed my, whatever she was, 70 something year old mother to point it out to me. The way she said it. And she says, isn't this supposed to be a vacation? Are you going to work the whole vacation? I was just like, you know what? She's 100% correct. And let me make some adjustments. I clearly need some. That has been pivotal for me. I have had this phone on silent so what are we in, 2025? So 7 years. Um, I I don't do Facebook. I don't have Facebook I don't want to be trapped into. I'm not saying I don't use it. I mean, I surely do. It's a great tool. And I just don't want to be reactive to it because I see that with people when it pings, they're like, and it's tizzy. I'm just like, you know what, my phone's buzzing down there. That's fine. It doesn't even bother me. Buzz away. I just don't want to hear it, and I want it to be when I'm ready to engage in it because I also feel like the vacation, as she was saying, I'm not in the moment. What are you doing here? You took all this time, you made all these plans, you took all this effort, and now what? And I think she was either probably she was talking to me and I wasn't paying attention, so that's probably a big no-no. And I think that's where she really was like, I don't want to do this if this is what the vacation's about. And so yeah, that was a pivotal change. And even though I'm retired, I don't have it off. I mean, if I have it on for any reason, it's because like someone's sick, something of some kind of emergency or whatever, or potential
Yeah.
issue. Yeah,
I think
and I
I
love
think
it.
it's really oh, hold on, I'm echoing. Hold on. All right. So we had a little technical glitch there for a second. My phone was on. So I think it's really cool because your mom called you out and then you carry, like, you didn't just leave it for that moment of that time with her. Like, you're like, you know what, she's giving me a sign, so I need to like evaluate this whole thing of like the phone and the notifications and all that stuff because that takes up so much energy from us. And like you said, we can't be present, we're not showing up where we want to show up and the way we want to show up for those that we were either with or what we're doing on our own, whatever that is. And I think it's really amazing your mom called you out on it. And we know we're just finishing up our no filter November month. And so, one of the things that I added too is like trying to reduce my notifications. So there's some that like would turned off. And actually in doing so, I realized there's some that I don't need anymore. So I like
Mm.
deleted them totally, like they're gone, right? And so it's so powerful when we can do those things. And I know it's been a fun month of the no filter. I know people are like struggling with certain things. Like our lovely friend, I know she's going to be listening to us. Our lovely friend Elizabeth, I know she did really well with the no filter. But it's really, really important that we do look at the things that we can filter out of our life that's keeping us from enjoying life. And so that's why I love that you plugged into the travel piece, because it is a big part of like stepping away from what we do every day, whether you own a business, whether you're an employee, whatever armor you wear, whether you're a wife, you're a volunteer, whatever that stuff is that's taking up your time. You have to be able to stop and be like, I have to do for something for me. And self-care, it doesn't have to be travel, but travel is the one part of it that's fun. It's like, and it doesn't mean that you have to go across the world like I did back in August to Greece. You could go, well, we're in Florida, we can go right to the beach, but I have friends that are in the mountains. You go, go take a walk on a mountain trail or something. There's things that we can do, but we don't stop to do that. And so I want to talk about like the travel piece. Like you retired, and how did you get introduced to it, and how often do you travel? I know a little bit about you already, but how do you incorporate that more into not just your life, but what was the aha moment that said, I want to make this part of a business too?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I about 2020, I'll say 2020 as it was for everybody, a real experience of a year, a lot of adjustments, a lot of, being flexible and changing things. But I realized in that year, I felt like it was the hardest I ever worked, and I realized I'm gonna have to make a change. This is probably not all these hours just isn't healthy on the computer, all these things. And I started thinking about what am I going to do? That year prior, I actually started as a pampered chef consultant, and in that year, I thought I did really well, and I thought this is what I'll do in retirement. This is I can make this a this. That's how I really started thinking about what am I going to do next. It started with that. But then as I kept doing it, I thought, is this something that's, you know, sustainable in the sense that will it permeate to other things? Will it grow me? What will excite me? I mean, it's fun. Don't get me wrong, but I needed something that was just a little deeper. And I love to travel. I feel fortunate. My husband loves to travel too, so he's really great about that. And I just started looking into what was some options, what were some travel options as a post retirement gig, so to speak. And I came across something called the company Cruise Planners, and somewhere in there, I don't even know, click a person that I've known for about 10 years, she's with them. And because when I started looking, the franchise option was, quite a few $1,000s. And I thought, well, I've never done it. What if I'm awful? I don't know. I don't want to invest 12 grand, and I don't think my husband would want me to either. And then I say, oh, I don't think this is for me. And so anyway, I just cold reached out to her. I said, we hadn't really talked or seen each other in quite a few years, and I said, hey, well, tell me about this. And so she told me, and I said, and she does have the franchise. And I said, well, maybe, she goes, maybe you want to start as an associate, And I said, that sounds good. That's a smaller investment, and because you're independent, I'm independent, but I'm underneath them. So with that, I just started doing the trainings, if you will, and starting to. I'll be truthfully honest. I don't even. I think I've been on two cruises my whole life before this company, before being with them. I'm not even a cruiser. I prefer Europe or going to more, other types of things. But it's been a great experience. I never realized how much people cruise, like how many people love to cruise. But I also wanted to get into you know this year specifically was really working on me. A lot of like this came out of working on me. I feel like all this pathway that's been this past year was working on me, in my faith, in going back to what I've done in the past. I mean, I have been connected with a lot of women's groups, led certain things, been a part of efforts, and I have to say, I realized that was missing for me. And how can I incorporate what I'm doing now? So I do believe that travel is about taking, not only taking care of yourself, but it's an intentional pause. Sometimes you need an intentional pause, even when you speak, even when all these things. But it's a pause for your whole self and your whole being. And I think that the travel for me was some of that. After working so many hours, so long, I kept saying, I realized I need that break, if you will. And I make it a point, between my husband and I, we kind of say where, we talk about where we'd like to go. We intentionally plan something. He's retired too, so we're really feeling fortunate that we can do it when we want, if you will. And how many trips have I been on? I've been to Europe. I've been going to Europe. I think I've been to Europe at least 10 times. I've been embracing the Caribbean with the cruising. And I have a cousin that loves to travel. And just last December, I did for the first time in my life a 2 week vacation. I've never taken a 2 week vacation. And this time I did. And we did it in St. Martin. And it was a beautiful island, really embraced it. And one thing I did for myself, and that was another thing, like I like to do something for myself. I'll tell you one thing my mom and I love to do when we go to Europe. We make it a point where like we're getting our hair done, we're finding a spot somewhere. I don't know, I don't care. And so that's one thing we always do when we go. For that trip in December, I decided to do a flying dress on the island of St. Martin. And I guess I have my own funny story on that one. It's the beach we were on was supposedly it's a new beach, and I go and my husband came with me. I go and you change into the dress, as you know. I know you did it in Greece, Pearl. And I said, okay, where do I change? She's like, right here. I was like, oh, okay. And I look over at my husband. He's like, so when in St. Martin, do as St. Martin people, I guess. And but it was one of the things that I loved, which made me think, go back to thinking about with travel. It's nice to experience different places. It's nice to change your environment. Sometimes you need to get out of the environment, right? And I think when I look at those pictures from St. Martin, I just look at, all that is beauty in the world. There's mountains there, there's beach there, there's palm trees. It's like all in one. It's not just one thing. And then I see myself, in this bright pink dress, looking happy. I mean, I don't know. I realize I could never be a model. They're like, stay still, hold this position, this and that. And I'm thinking, and I'm trying to suck it in and all this other. I'm like, oh, this is a lot of work. I didn't even eat. It's like, I can't. I gotta eat. I can't do this. But it was fun. It was a great experience. And so yeah. So my journey in travel has been kind of different, but I have been embracing it. I have at least, oh my goodness, 4 trips scheduled for next year already. And I'm doing my first group trip, which is I'm really excited, with this particular organization called Divine Inspired Women. And that was one of the things I put out to the universe. I set as one of my goals for this year was to start doing group trips. And it was like a combination. It all came together really nicely, and so I'm starting to foray into that this year.
I love that. I love your story. Like I think like going on vacation for 2 weeks, like it is a big thing. I mean, when Chuck and I did our 11-day in Greece, it's like you're stepping away from life, like especially if you're going out of the country or something. Like there's no like I can run back home, nothing. You got to have the right things in place. Like for me, it's like having a VA in place, my husband having the right team in place for what he does for his business. So you've got to trust that team, and it's important because for leadership too, it's important to be able to lift up your team and to do that. But when you're a solopreneur, it's like that's on you. So you got to have the stuff in place and all of that. And so I love that you did that. And I was chuckling through your flying dress story because my flying dress, we're in Santorini. We're standing up, and all the beautiful little houses you see, all the little things you see, all these people are down below, hundreds of people down below us, and here I am, like, okay, take off the bra and everything. And it's like, okay, there's nothing to hide. It's like, okay, the girls are going to be out and about. So it's like, whatever, So it was so funny because in my head, like in planning and I was like, oh, I'll have a room to go change. Like, no, it's not like a studio. You're outside in the elements, get it done. Let's go. And the funny thing was, I was so glad when we did it because A, it got really hot later, but B, when we got done, there were 6 people in line behind us to use the same spot that we were using. It was wildly crazy. So it's definitely something everybody should do once in your lifetime, the flying dress experience. It's so much fun. It's like really what I like about it is exactly what both you and I said. It's just like you just let everything go. Literally let it all
Correct.
show, let it all go, and just lean into it and have fun with it. And that's what's so fun. That was the only thing I wanted on the trip was like that experience. I didn't want a massage, I didn't want any of that other stuff. I just wanted to have that experience. And so
Mhm.
that was my gift to myself from my husband and I both. That was sort of our anniversary gift. But I want to talk about because people say, because I do flights all the time for my family because I'm just really creative with flying and finding good flights, right? I think my other world, if I left what I'm doing now, would be in travel. I'd probably join right side beside you. But like tell people why it's important to have somebody like you help planning the travel.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, planning travel, I mean, it can be stressful. You're wanting to do this so that way you don't have stress. And that's where I step in. I step in to help you make those connections. We have certain with our company, we have certain deals, if you will, and ability to do certain things. But not only that, travel. I mean, if you travel a lot, then travel. There's a stress in travel. It's a good stress. Don't get me wrong. You start really early. There's a lot of lines, this and that. But there's also changes, and that can be stressful. There's cancellation. I mean, like what's going on now? People, we got canceled flights and people working for free and all this other things going on. But nonetheless, you wonder, like when I hear it, you wonder, will so and so be able to make their connection? Will so and so this and that? When you have a problem or an issue, then this is where you can. I step in and I talk to who I need to talk to make the changes for you or get you on the next flight or change you out of the hotel or whatever the case may be. And you get to sit and wait to hear back from me, of course, but you can sit and wait in the lounge area or whatever, have a cocktail, just you keep relaxing, you still keep enjoying your vacation. We will find a way to get you out or get you, to your next destination. So I think that, what's important is that I represent you. I help you, and I'm boots on the ground and in the air and on the phone and where it is I need to be to help you continue to enjoy your vacation. So that way you're not stressed. The whole point of this is for you not to be stressed. So I'm here to take your stress away.
And that's what's so important. I remember when years ago, this is many moons ago. Chuck and I've been over 40 years ago. We went on our first cruise with my grandmother, and she was a traditional travel agent, the one that had the office. You went in, sat down, that was her. And so that for me, that's I think what brought on the love of travel because I watched her do it. And then we did our first cruise with my grandparents together, and she taught us all the things like don't do this, do that, get this, book this. It was so much fun to do it through her eyes. And so it was always a blast to do that. So I think that's why I love it so much. And of course, we talked earlier about the whole self-care piece and all of that as well. So tell everybody how they reach you to talk to you about planning some travel.
Oh, sure. Well, you can go to my website. It's Sonia. It's long. It's Sonia Rodriguez Thorn .vacationsbyrobin.com. Or you can call me 352-650-4600. I also have a Facebook business page called Sonia Thorn, your travel expert. So you could also search there as well. And yeah, we do. And we don't, I think the title of the company sounds very limiting saying cruise, but land and sea, even home rentals, VRBOs, Airbnbs, all inclusives. I mean, train rides. I mean, all of it. There's nothing there's nothing I can't do. I can do car rentals, anything you imagine that means travel or space. Packages, all of that, anywhere around the world.
I love it. So everybody needs to go and get in touch with Sonia. We'll put that all in the show notes so that you can book your next travel and head off to some good self-care for yourself and for your family. Maybe do it, make a family thing of it. Maybe it's a destination wedding, maybe it's a destination renewal of vows, whatever that is. It's so much fun and so important for self-care. I want to shift to something that you and I are doing together. Now, first of all, you're part of the retreat. You're on my retreat team now. I'm so excited to have you as one of our ambassadors, as helping our amazing chef Elizabeth, helping us with the cooking and feeding everybody. And one of the things that you and I, the way we met is because you mentioned earlier, Divine Inspired Women. And it's a women's network group that, the word divine, of course, God shows up in our meetings. He's there all the time. He guides us and leads us along the way. And so when I joined the meeting, when I joined the group a few months ago, I joined because I had, I lost my son 3 years ago. I kind of pulled back from networking. And this year was the year I wanted to sort of step back in and start doing some of that because it's important to get your face and everything out there. And so I did that. And I was about to step into one that was kind of close to where I live. And I saw a post that said, they mentioned Elizabeth and they had spoken to Elizabeth, and the post was something along the lines like, I do the same thing they do. So competition's good, but come join us. And for me, with my retreats, I'm all about uplifting women, like having a good conversation. How do we lift each other up? I'm so much about uplifting women that before you and I recorded today, I always do a tea with Pearl before I put anybody on the show to get to know them, make sure they show up. We spend 15 minutes together. The lady who was on before me, she said she'd put her photography away and was doing this coaching thing. And I was like, can I give you a secret? And I can't tell you the secret because it's top secret from the ambassadors. But I said, can I give you the secret you should do? And when she did it, she's like, oh my God, that's so amazing. I go, yeah, my business coach will probably be mad because I told you the secret. But I think it's something that she could do for her business and would help her because she's feeling kind of in a place where like I don't think anybody should put their camera away if you're good at it. So bring me back to Divine Inspired Women. When I saw that post, I immediately called Elizabeth because I was like, why are we knocking down somebody else because they're doing what you do? Why not be like, hey, how can we uplift? Hey, how can we get involved with one another? How can we support each other's groups? So I joined and I was loving it. I love the fact that every woman in there embraces each other. They show up for everything almost as much as they can. There's different chapters around here. There's Clear, if you're in Tampa, just if you're listening locally, there's Clearwater, there's Spring Hill, there's Tampa, there's Wesley Chapel. I think I'm missing somebody, but there's
Spring Hill and Brooksville.
in Brooksville, that's right. And so I had said to Elizabeth, I'm like, I want to get my feet wet, but I'm thinking I might want to bring one to where I live in Riverview, because there is a group of women that are here that driving to some of those locations are a little far for us to go to. And she's like, okay, let's start now. I'm like, no. I need to get my feet wet soon. And so I was going to start with another friend of mine and the chapter. We reached out to Elizabeth, and unfortunately, my friend had some medical health stuff happen, so she can't commit right now. But the day Sonia had reached out to me, I hadn't known at that point. She's like, I would love to coach after with him. I'm like, oh my gosh. So and so is helping me. Well, I got home that night, and again, God shows up in the places he's supposed to show up for. And unfortunately, my friend called me and told me about the health thing. And right away I went to Sonia. I'm like, okay, do you still want to do this? And she's like, yeah, let's do it. And so we told Elizabeth, and here we are, November 5th. So we will have already had possibly we will have at least had our first meeting by the time this launches. But here we are launching November 5th. We launch our chapter. And then poor Sonia, I said to her, I don't want to postpone the launch date because we'd already postponed it once, but I'm not going to be able to be here because I'm going to Miami because I'm getting an award and I'm speaking. Can you still do it? And she's like, sure, we'll figure it out. But the cool thing is this is what I love about the group is you said, sure, we'll do it. No problem. And B, you and I went into this and we said, we're equals. There's no chair, co-chair. We're coming in. We're both chairing this together. We're a team together. We want to uplift women together. And we sat down earlier in the week and I said, let's plan out at least the next two meetings so we can kind of have that plan. And I said to Sonia, I want this to feel like a mastermind network event with the messaging that Elizabeth and everybody's put together with the theme. And Sonia right away was like, let's do it. That's exactly. And it was so much fun because I knew right away, and I think you might have said the same thing. This is so cool. Like we're both wanting to embrace each other. And so I'm really excited about this chapter. And I wanted you to share a little bit about your thoughts about the network too.
Oh yeah, no, I really agree with you. And I guess I mentioned earlier, like one of my goals was to start doing all this, and I feel like it's all just interweaving like so nicely with all the things that I guess quote unquote searching for, thriving for, aspiring to be, all of those things. But the Divine Inspired Women has been a different type of networking group. And I have known Elizabeth personally. I didn't even know she had a networking group when I started looking for it, if you can believe that. Affectionately, my husband calls her the charcuterie lady. He can't remember her name. I don't know why, but probably because he saw her. He would usually be the one home to receive it because I was working. So I'm trying to do other. You know how it is. You're multitasking, but um, but yeah, when I was searching, I searched and searched and searched, and I saw it come up, and I saw Elizabeth's name on, and I reached out to her. I said, Elizabeth, what you got going on here? I don't even know. And she started telling me. I said, okay. I said, I just had like really one personal question. I'm like, I don't mind. I just don't want, I do love all women's networking group, but they're all not the same. But more so, I really didn't want one that was uber political. I just didn't want that. And so she's like, we're not that we're far from that. And I said, okay. I said, and I signed up before even attending a meeting, only because I knew Elizabeth and I trusted her. And my first meeting was the Tampa one at Truly Bridal in on Bush there in Tampa, and with Dana Ortega. And I tell you, just the environment, like you said, is supporting women. We and we have women from all different types of backgrounds, all different types of businesses. But I also love that we're not trying to be in competition with one another. We're collaborating with one another. We're supporting one another. Someone I think I met that was also in travel, and they thought, oh, maybe I should join another one. I said, no, no. I said, this is more. This isn't about just the business. This is about what we do for each other and how we support each other, and that's what I really like. I mean, I have to tell you, I sometimes, maybe I don't know, somewhere in this, I keep getting nudges, very very nice nudges from Elizabeth. She's like, you need to post about your business. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. I'm so into like the positive message. I like doing that, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, okay, I'll post. But yeah, I think the opening of the new chapter. I'll be honest here on the podcast. So Elizabeth will see it. I was asked to chair a chapter, the Clearwater, after the other person stepped down, and I was just about, I don't know, a month in, and I thought, I'm just kind of myself. I feel like I need to be a little bit more involved and see all the things. I hadn't been to anything really, and she said, okay. I said, so I declined. I respectfully declined actually at that time. And I think she was shocked. She was a little shocked when I just felt like when you were opening Riverview, I'd seen at that point, I'd been part of the summit. I'd seen what you'd done. I actually wished I was part of the retreat in Tampa. So that's why I'm at the retreat next year for sure. But I just saw how you operated and how I can grow and learn from that. And that just really moved me, and just all that was happening there. I said, there's something about this woman I have to stay connected with. And I thought that this would be great if I'm able to co-lead with her in Riverview. And another thing was Riverview. I don't really know anybody in Riverview. I don't know Riverview. Like I'd have to learn, and I'm willing to learn, and I want to learn. But so that was exciting to me. Something that for me personally, was a growth opportunity to grow into a new area, a new region of the state. I know Pasco and Hernando County inside out. People know me. I mean, I've been in this area for 40 years, but in Tampa and Hillsborough. But yeah. So our group, I love that we are already excited about what we plan to start, and lead in our own way, but definitely with the same vision and mission of Divine Inspired Women.
Yeah, it's so funny. We were both the same way. I joined without attending a meeting. I didn't, I just paid. I'm like, I love it. I think it's really cool.
Oh, okay.
I also did it because I was like, I can go out to other areas and not be in my bubble of where I live. So that's really, we have so much in common. That's why we're doing this together. But so I'm gonna manifest this because I know Elizabeth's gonna watch this, but I see her having national DIW chapters because I think divine inspired women around the world, around especially the US, is such a need where they not only uplift and inspire one another, but we have faith that's in there. And it's not like we're
Mhm.
sitting there, we're not like preaching, God's in the room. We start with prayer, we kind of end with prayer, and then we work on our business, we support each other. There's all these different events that Elizabeth's really, really great about putting on. And so going to manifest Elizabeth. It's going to have chapters in other states, and so she's going to be
Oh,
traveling to those states to pop in and visit them. And trust that Florida, we got you, girl. And then she's going to go set up other areas. So I'm really excited
I
to.
love it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this journey and that we're on and us working together. And so if you're interested in learning more about DIW or Divine Inspired Women, just message me at Pearl. I'm sorry, just email me at Coach Pearl at wsliving.com. That's Coach Pearl at wsliving.com. I'd love to share the experience with you and have you join in with us. And so I just looked down, our time is coming to the end. It goes so fast. So I told
Okay.
Sonia about our cards. So Sonia, I'm going to shuffle the cards. You're going to tell me when to stop, and then we'll read the card. So here we go.
Stop.
Okay, your card says, "What if my inner voice is right?" Ooh, I'm going to answer that first. So, what if my inner voice is right? My inner voice is always right. I always listen to it. And I will tell you, I'm going to bring us back to when my son passed. I knew something was wrong. I just had in my gut something was wrong. And I was shaking like a leaf. And my husband's like, "You have to stop that. You're going to have a heart attack." I'm like, "No, I can tell you that something's wrong. I feel it in my core." So when my inner voice tells me I should or shouldn't do something now, especially since I've come past the people pleasing mode where I've worked on myself and learning to say no, I listen to it closely. And now, before I do something, I'll stop and ask myself, "This is the energy that I want to do." And if the answer is no, it's a hard no. So that's for me. If I know my inner voice is right. What about you?
Oh, I'm a true believer of my inner voice. I'd add that to be my female intuition is never wrong. I listen to it all the time. I feel the same way. If something is not sitting well with me, or I know I think your inner voice is also like some of your core values. I don't break those. I have to be able to. I always say, I tell anybody, I probably told it to you, I have to be able to do two things. I have to be able to look at myself in the mirror, and I have to be able to sleep at night. But so if I don't break, I just don't break those rules. That's for me personally. I've turned down promotions if I know it's not right. I've turned down raises. I said I can't be part of something that doesn't meet my values. So when I feel like you said, if your inner voice is telling you that's a no, or get out or whatever, I follow it. There's a reason for that. I don't know. Divine intervention is a thing. So something is leading you in that right direction. I also feel the same way when if you're late for something or there's a delay in something, there's a reason for that. I am okay with that. Like I think sometimes how should I put this? We want perfection. We want it to be a certain way. We had it planned in our head and da da da. I'm gonna leave with a quote my mom says all the time, and sometimes it takes I don't know. She talks in these little parables all the time. It's only, I would say, in the last maybe 5 years. I must be getting older. I'm repeating them. So, but she says, man appoints and God disappoints, and I have had to I've understood. I never understood it. I'm like, why would God want to disappoint? But I understand your man-made stuff doesn't trump what He wants. So you have to learn to lean into that and trust that. And I think that trust is also that inner voice.
I love that. Man appoints, God disappoints. That's so, yeah, because like when we're like, "Oh, well, why would he do that?" Like there's a lesson. And as
Right.
crazy as it sounds, like the loss of my son, like I didn't understand what lesson he wanted me to do. But what I got from that is to still carry on what Matt saw me live 2 days before he passed. Like live, put myself first and all that. And while he's not here, I still have to sit in that lesson that it took me a long time to learn, even though I will never understand. And I'll have a conversation with God when I get to heaven, like, "Well, why?" I don't understand the why and all of that. But yeah, I love what your mom said, that she's such a smart lady. So thank you so much for sharing her with us today. And thank you for sharing travel and all of that fun stuff. And, life is short. So we need to go travel. We need to take some time. You need to reach out to Sonia and set that up. So I want to thank you
That's
again.
right.
And I want to remind everybody, you come into this world, you are a rough oyster on the outside, but on the inside, you have to open that up. And as you do, you find your inner pearl to greatness, and you walk in the world being the hero you're supposed to be today. So have a great day. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. I love travel. And so the message for you today is, what are you waiting for? Why are you not doing something to put yourself first, even as simple as a staycation? So if you're ready to do something for yourself, start with a little getaway. go to the beach, go to the mountains, go for a walk, but start somewhere because travel is really a big part of self-care. I hope you have a great day.
All clean, why'd it take